Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is the audio reading of Don't Judge Me, Judge Your Mom. This is part one of chapter one. You ready? Valerie laid across her queen-size bed, enjoying her well-needed alone time. She was only 33 years old, but she had an old soul. So her alone time normally consists of her lighting what seemed like a million candles and playing the soft and relaxing sounds of Bob Marley through her oversized Bluetooth speaker. It was something about a clean room and a Sunday breeze that Valerie looked forward to all week. She had already had Sunday's dinner out of the way the night before. It was easy for her to put beef ribs in a crock pot in the wee hours of the night. Valerie hated to do anything on Sundays, even be bothered with her own children. Even the children knew not to bother Mom on Sundays. Being a single parent of 3 children, she needed that mental break. Valerie was forced to work from home because of a deadly virus that was making its way around the world. Like the rest of the world, she was tired of being stuck in the house under the worldwide strict quarantine given by her president. Valerie stretched her arms out and started to hum to herself when the song My Angel by Anita Baker came on. Her trance was interrupted by a notification ding from her phone. Shit, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, said Valerie out loud. She dug underneath her pillow to find her phone to check and see who had the balls to contact her on her special day of the week. It was a text from a 45-year-old male friend of hers named Anthony. Her and Anthony, whom she called Tone, had been secret friends for a few years. Both were very private and did not want the small city of Wilmington, Delaware, to know what they had that they had even known each other at all. So normally, they only text when they wanted to contact each other. Tone would text her every once in a while and say something sexual. Valerie would laugh it off and then change the subject. When she was bored, she would entertain Tone, but would eventually bring up his living girlfriend, and then the conversation would somehow end shortly afterwards. Tone wanted Valerie, but he knew that she didn't look at him the same way he had seen her for so many years. For so long, he would imagine himself laying next to the 4'11", beautiful young black woman with the softest shade of caramel skin. He would touch himself all the time while fantasizing about him rubbing on her round butt. Valerie had the perfect black girl body, and every man that she had ever came across wanted her. So she thought. Her eyes were different. They stuck out mostly before anything else could even say hello. She had plump lips that looked extra soft when she she had plump lips that looked extra soft, especially when she would put 2 layers of slightly tinted lip gloss on them, making them poke out just a tad bit more. She would walk with the self-confidence of 1,000 strong black women, and it would normally intimidate weaker men, but not Tone. In his head, he matched her fly, so he would often let her know that he was very much interested in her. He just had to figure out a way to show and prove himself to her. She was finally single, and this was the moment he had been waiting on. She had been single for about 6 months now, and he was not passing up this opportunity. Hey, beautiful, Tone texted nervously. He was going to finally invite her on a weekend getaway. He has come into some extra money, and he knew that he couldn't come at Val with absolutely nothing. So this was his chance. Hey, you, Val texted back. I was wondering, do you got plans this weekend? Asked Tone. Nope, I'm free. Why, what's up? Replied Val. Ooh, what if I told you that I'm just one click away from purchasing you a ticket to join me in Atlantic City for the weekend? Asked Tone. I will call your bluff, said Val, ending the text with a laughing emoji. But would you come with me? Asked Tone. Yeah, replied Val. That was it. Tone, that's what Tone had wanted to hear. He honestly couldn't believe that she had said yes. And as God was his witness, he was not going to mess up this once in a lifetime chance. He was going to make this the best weekend getaway she has had in a long time. Just like that, Tone confirmed her train ticket to meet him in Atlantic City, and then he booked a room for the two of them for the remaining of the weekend. That following Friday was the day that Valerie was due to leave. She had already called her friend over, who just so happened to be her neighbor, and asked her to look after her 3 children and her home while she was away. Even though Valerie trusted her 16-year-old daughter, she still needed a responsible adult to pop in just to make sure that everything was going okay. As planned, Valerie ordered an Uber to transport her and her luggage to the train station. The train took almost 3 hours, but right on time she arrived to the city that carried her biggest weakness, gambling. What Tone did not know was that Valerie was a big gambler. She enjoyed it. She often got off on it. She wouldn't go to the casinos to actually win, but would just go as a break from the world. So, because of that, she would stay for hours, win money, and then eventually play it back. Valerie walked out of the train station, pulling a bright pink suitcase with heels, two carry-on bags, and a medium tan-sized pocketbook. She removed her large shades that took up a great percentage of her face and removed her soft yellow face mask to show her smile when she laid eyes on her friend. There he was, a dark, medium-built, strong black man standing at 6'2". Tone leaned against the rented 2018 Dodge Charger with his legs crossed at the ankles and his hands rested in his pockets. The sun was shining on him and kissed his skin oh so perfectly, making sure that anyone passing had no choice but to notice him. Val knew he was going to the gym often, but his Facebook photos did not do him any justice. He was standing in front of her, built like a fucking Egyptian god. Damn, he looked good as shit, Val said to herself as she bit her bottom lip. Tone could read her mind through her eyes and knew exactly what she was thinking. He smiled as she got closer, showing his almost perfectly white teeth. Val felt her legs growing weak. He was making her clitoris jump. She wanted to drop the bags, push his body against the hood of the car, and climb on top of his face and fuck those pretty pink lips until she filled his mouth with her beautiful nectar. Hey, baby girl, let me grab your bags and get your sexy ass in this car. Tone leaned in, grabbing her bags, and she instantly got a slight whiff of his fragrance. She had a thing for a man that smelled good. It was one of her must-haves. He then went around to the passenger side and he opened up her door the way a gentleman should. Val sat down and Tone reached into the car, buckled her seatbelt, and kissed her slightly on her forehead. He walked around to the driver's side, got in, and pulled into the direction of the Harris Resort. It was Valerie's first time in Atlantic City, and it showed. She pointed out every little thing she noticed, and Tone would laugh at her excitement. They arrived at the hotel and walked through the casinos to the elevators. Tone pressed number 8, and the elevator took them up to the 8th floor. He led the way to the room carrying the bags. When he opened the door, Valerie smiled and inhaled. The room was really nice and super clean. Valerie plopped down on the chair that sat next to the window and peered out. The view was breathtaking. The room overlooked the Atlantic Ocean, and she instantly fell in love. You like it? Asked Tone, coming out the bathroom. What? I love it. Oh my gosh, look at this view. It is so amazing, said Val excitedly. She slowly lifted herself from the chair and went to her bag. Her body was screaming for a shower. Even though she traveled in the middle of a pandemic, she was still very cautious. She wanted to wash the public from her body immediately. She ran her shower water and began to excuse me, y'all. She ran her shower water and began to slowly step out of her clothes. Tone sat on the bed and grabbed the remote to catch up on the news. The world was in an uproar because unemployment had stopped the week before, and that day the president was supposed to go live and address the current events. Knowing the president, he was going to say something out of line, and Tone found that oddly entertaining. He caught a reflection of Valerie in the oval-shaped mirror that sat on the dresser across the room, and his penis jumped. Down, boy, he whispered. We don't want to mess this up. Valerie's shower was nothing less than amazing. Of course, the water was super hot, just like she liked it. When she opened the bathroom door, the steam walked out before she did, causing Tone to look away from the TV. There, right there, was a goddess in his presence. He felt honored, chosen. Valerie sat down and snatched up the lotion from the other side of the bed. Oh, your president on the TV again? Asked Valerie jokingly. The president was the very last thing that was on Tone's mind. She smelled so fucking good. She smelled like his grandmother's homemade fresh sweet potato pie. His mouth started to water. He wanted to taste her, but of course his nervousness set in and fear took over his body. He didn't understand why he got nervous around her, but he did. Valerie noticed the shift in the air and began to tease the obviously hot and bothered grown man sitting across from her. She mixed her body oils and her Nivea lotion together, stood up, and began to slowly rub the mixture down her legs, making sure she seductively bent over in front of him in the perfect position to show her bubble. When every inch of both legs was finished, she moved up to her butt. This time, instead of mixing the oil and lotion in her hands, she stood and squeezed the bottle, allowing the oil to slowly dance down the mountain caught her ass. She turned her head slightly and asked, "You gonna make me do this alone? Or you gonna help me?" Valerie knew exactly what she was doing. She enjoyed watching him struggle to hold his composure. She had already known that she was gonna fuck him, but why not enjoy the show first? Tone quickly jumped to the opportunity and palmed her ass. "Yo, your body is so soft. I mean, I knew that you would be fluffy, but damn," said Tone in his deep and seductive voice. Valerie turned her head away from him and smiled. That wasn't the first time a man had told her that, and honestly, she liked hearing it. Suddenly, things got out of Val's control when Tone placed one of his muscular arms around the front of her waist, and with his other arm, he pushed down her back, pushing her forward, bending her in the same position that she was in, while loosening her legs all in one quick movement. Without warning, he pushed his face between her ass, going straight in with his long, wet tongue sticking straight out. Completely caught off guard, Valerie stumbled, but his arm that was wrapped around her caught her from falling flat on her face. She let out a soft moan as Tone wiggled his way to his destination. Because of the size of her ass, that position was a little difficult for the two of them, so Tone gently scooped her and laid her comfortably in the middle of the bed. Valerie watched in awe while Tone stood between her legs and removed his shirt. He climbed on the bed and spread both of her thick thighs with ease and dove face first into her pearl. Valerie shoved his head out. "Tone, I got a piercing down there." Tone knew that Valerie had her pussy pierced, but what he did not know was that she was not a fan of receiving head. She had a bad experience that permanently scarred her. He lifted his eyes to lock with hers. "I know, baby. I see it. Trust me." Valerie laid back down, and even though she was scared that it was going to be a repeat of that one time, she let him go. "Fuck it. You on vacation, bitch," she said to herself. She closed her eyes and prepared herself to be the perfectly cooked turkey on Thanksgiving. Suddenly, Tone let out a horribly loud moan, as if he was coming. "Oh! No, 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 no. This can't be right," Val thought. What the fuck was he doing? The noise stopped, and she was able to go back to focus on her well-deserved nut. It had been 6 months since she's been touched, and damn it, she needed this shit. Wait, there it goes again. Oh! What was that sound? Valerie very slowly curled one side of her body to look down towards him. Maybe he playing with himself, she thought to herself, because that was the only logical reason that he could have that he was screaming like that. No, he wasn't. Both of his hands were on her. He was spreading her pussy open, exposing her clitoris and going for the gold. So, he thought, head was trash. You gotta be fucking kidding me. This can't be right. This nigga too fucking fine to disrespect my pussy like this. Maybe if I move a little bit, it'll give him a few ideas. She shifted her body and he let out another scream. Oh! What was he doing? Was he coming? Why was he screaming like that? And why was it so loud? She instantly became annoyed and terribly embarrassed. He was screaming so loud as if it was him that was getting his pussy ate and not her. That was not how she pictured this to go. She was so confused and didn't know what to do. Does she push him off and tell him that he sucked? She didn't want to be rude. I mean, he was her friend, and he was a sweetheart. She was painfully snatched out of the very important discussion she was having between the good and bad angel. "Ouch! Oh!" she screamed. "Move your hands, yo. Move your hands. You digging your nails in my pussy, please." This cannot be happening. Wait. Just get the condom. Get the condom. I want some dick. Just get the condom. She had to put a stop to this bullshit. Leaving it to this dummy, she was going to need 11 Band-Aids when he was finished. She still hadn't figured out why he was screaming either, but she damn sure was going to come back to that later and try to figure it out. She had to, because that was just fucking weird. With the condom on, he laid down next to her, breathing heavily as if they had just got finished fucking, and they hadn't done shit. He wasn't ready yet. He was still in his gummy worm stage. Normally, this would be the part where she shows off and swallows his dick like the pro she was. But she for damn sure was not in the mood for that shit. So yeah, no, it definitely wasn't happening. He had her turned off, and she just wanted it to be over with. She grabbed his gummy and flicked it back and forth, hoping that it would grow with her touching it. Nope, didn't work. Climb on top, babe. Let me just rub it on you, suggested Tone. Valerie climbed on top of him, and Tone held his own worm and started rubbing it on her wet pussy. Damn, your pussy's so wet. Funny thing is, it wasn't wet because she was turned on. It was wet because he had used so much spit when he was committing an oral suicide. If he hadn't done that, she would have been dried in a Popeye's biscuit with no juice. Fuck! Screamed Valerie. What you feel, I'm growing, baby? Asked Tone, smiling with confidence. No, you pinching me. Valerie said, rolling her eyes. This cannot be happening, yo. She needed a way out. He was such a nice guy, and she didn't want to hurt his feelings. While he was doing everything in his power to get hard so he could give her the business, she was too busy trying to figure out how his relationship survived this bullshit, because there was no way that he was fucking his girl like this. After minutes of him trying to get himself hard, he realized that it was an epic fail. Even now, more sexually frustrated, Valerie climbs off of him with a slight attitude. At this point, she honestly didn't care if it showed. She was upset. Surprisingly, Tone didn't notice the change in her mood, and that was the funny part. Maybe I just need to smoke, he said. That was it for Val. She had it. She quietly walked into the bathroom to wash away the waste of a perfectly good man. When she returned, there he was, smoking his weed and laying back on the bed as if nothing was wrong. I'll be back. I'm about to go walk around, she said while putting on her jean dress. Just like that, she laced up her multicolored Adidas and she was out the door on an adventure in Atlantic City. Valerie walked past the slots and didn't